right, cool. So we're gonna continue what we was doing on Tuesday, where we was doing that memory game. And let me actually start pulling up some of that stuff so that we can get it done. Um, let's see, let me share my screen. And we're gonna do the same thing. Like we're really gonna like dissect like everything. Oh, let me stop sharing for 2 seconds. I'm gonna put some of this, minimize some of this stuff so that we don't see it. How was your week though? Um, I don't think I got a chance to check the the full words problems, but I did see that y'all was going in on those. Um,
It was all right. I ran into one where I was getting a pass for the test, but I was getting a fail for the attempt.
mhm.
I posted it with the question on. I think it was like maybe my second or third one. I kind of did all mine in a group, so
Okay.
I asked about that one at some point.
Yeah, those ones. I think the attempt gives you like more test cases. That's probably what it was. It's probably some edge case that you was
Mhm.
missing. Um, you figured that out, or
I don't think I went back to it since then.
okay,
I think I moved on from it and probably forgot to go back.
that's cool. Yeah, that's normally just like edge case things, and that's a good that is a good that is a good example of just like being able to think of those edge cases also. But
Mhm.
but yeah,
I'll double check it for like issues also because I know a couple of those like 8Qs they'll have like some weird problem with them and people have reported it, but I was trying to avoid looking at like solutions for these next few I was doing. So
yeah,
yeah, I'll see to it probably after this.
yeah. How far are you on there? Like which was it Q? Which um
I'm still mainly working in 8. I've tried a couple of 7s, but I didn't as I didn't get the complete answer. And since I'm not trying to look at the solution, I hadn't like posted them just yet. Still kind of working through them, trying to move down to 7.
let me see. Something I'm noticing here, like you see my how my picture, if y'all see how my picture is not showing, and like this video ain't gonna be here either. Oh, it's not. Okay, let me turn this off.
Yeah, just to let Kevin know, he missed the edge case. That's the only reason he ain't getting it.
Okay, you figured it out then for that one, or
Yeah. Well, I didn't solve it, but I'm just looking at the problem and I looked at the what he had. He gotta just throw he just gotta throw something in the I think you can do the default. I think you can do a default in the whatchamacallit, but I don't think that it ain't gonna return blank. He just gotta throw an if statement up in there at the beginning. Yeah, he'd probably be good to go.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'll yeah, I said I'll dissect it again probably right after class today.
Yeah, you got to do that. If the array is empty, return 0 because
Okay, I
yeah,
left the bottom half off that. Okay.
the empty array is gonna be something, but probably undefined or something like that, or some
Right.
error code.
And I think it did say that return 0 if undefined. I probably did leave that one off. If that was that exact one, because I did 2. It was that one, another one that was similar to it.
Also, I have a strong feeling that the average of you probably okay. No, never mind. What you got is cool. Yeah. Just probably that edge case.
All right, cool. Appreciate it, bro.
Already.
I'm just closing out things on my end. I think I have way too many windows open. Yeah. Let me try to share screen again. Just gonna do- Let's just go in here and just click on it. That's okay. It's taking so long to load. Hmm. This is odd. Okay, let me try to clear some of my RAM because I think that's probably what it is. Wow. I have way too much stuff up. That's me working both of those jobs. That's what that is. So while this loads, I guess I'll just quickly tell you the next story. Next story. So the next one was I guess just sort of like a shift. This is like sort of my like journey or whatever to like being like a manager where I currently am. Um, so I'm at the point where I got my job that I'm like better than the people that I'm working with, like the people that's doing the same thing I'm doing. Um, and when you get when you get to that point, like when you give somebody like a task to do, like me giving that guy those tasks or whatever, you get to a point where it's like you know that you can do it better than the people that you're working with. But because I'm on a journey to be a manager, um, I have to shift the way I think of things. And this is coming from like my mentor that they have me, that I have at the job. She's telling me, yeah, like even though you can do it better, what you want to focus on is having your team do it. Um, Basically trying to build up your team. So the reason I'm telling y'all this is because y'all may be at the point where like y'all are at like different levels of like experience with different things. Maybe some of y'all better at HTML and CSS, maybe some of y'all better at JavaScript than like the rest. And you may get to a point where it's like, okay, if I just do it, I can just hurry up and get this done. But it is always a good mindset if you ever thought about being a manager to just like guide your teammates, just so that you won't build the habit of wanting to always fix it. Um, Always look at it from like a team perspective uh, when you go to fix things. Because even if you're like the best at your job, even if you're like knocking things out, that don't cause for a promotion. Like it just says that you're good at your current role. That doesn't mean that you're good at like being a manager, that's the real reason to not do everything yourself if you want to go that route. And obviously, managers make more. So yeah.
Right. And you get to delegate. So, you
Right.
know, less work. You don't want to jump in and do their job and your job, and then you get overwhelmed. So I definitely agree.
Right. Exactly. And even like okay, just finished. Good. And even the project I'm working on now, like I started delegating, and it's like my job became so much easier when I started to delegate. It's like even though I think I can do it better, or like I know I can do it better than some people, like having them do it is taking stuff off my plate. So that's how you gotta look at it. This thing's
Sure.
let me share my screen. So something up here. Yeah, it's not loading for some reason. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to actually let me just X this out completely. Let's just close Google Chrome. Maybe that's the issue. Close that. Close this. Close that. Close this one. Okay, everything's closed. Let's try this again. Normally when something loads, when something takes a long time to load, like it is, I normally try to like go to the dev tools to try to figure out why it's not loading. But for some odd reason, oh wait, here we go. This is the dev tools. It wasn't opening up at first, but now it's opening. So let's figure out what's wrong. I do this, I even do this on like regular websites. Like I'll literally see if there's any API calls made or any errors. There's an error. What's this? We just started OOP helper.js file not found. So let's figure out why. Let's open this up in VS Code. It's this one. Actually, I'm gonna test something out. I want to see if this complete one opens up. Okay, the complete one opens up. All right, cool. So there's something wrong with this one. Starting. Okay, still opening. Good old console. Helper.js. I guess why this, okay, let's do it. Did anybody get through all of the projects that was in a course? Like through the whole Udemy course?
I did not. I got through most of them, but not all of them. And I'm kind of cheating because I was in the last cohort.
Yeah.
Yeah, did most. I think I'm missing like I didn't finish the battle game, and because a few of them were really short. Because I know you're just trying to point out a concept, like the color psychology one was short. Did the password generator? Let's see, to calculator. Yeah, the battle game and oh, you know what? Yeah, I didn't fully complete the CRUD store. I got through most of it, but I didn't finish the CRUD store yet.
Yeah, that Chrysler is probably yeah, that one for everybody, that one is like the one of the most important ones.
Yeah, that mother beast.
Yeah. When you get to that, that's gonna like really help you piece together like what we try to do, like while building apps and stuff.
I hate to say this, but I really gotta get back on top of stuff because like I'm still like halfway through the password generator. I've been trying to work on it this week, but like school's been starting back up as I move back in.
You definitely want to keep up with that because when we get to React, it's gonna get really confusing. Okay, so it's loading now. It's good. Any errors?
Is your picture in your assets folder still?
So what I did, I commented it out. It was looking for this OOP helper, And this is something I probably got to fix in the course too, because it's not here. It's not in a JavaScript file. Actually, I can just create it. I can just create it. I don't think anything will reference it. I'm glad we're going over this because, and this is really like, this is like the newest file that I added, like the last project I added was this old Helper. This is for that battle game that you see like two characters or whatever. Um, that's what that's for. What's going on? So it's probably something I gotta upload again. It's weird because it worked last week without errors, but this week I'm thinking it's probably just my computer, to be honest. Okay, Samuel, like 80% done. Cool. Okay, yeah. You say you didn't understand classes. Yeah, classes are like is probably the hardest concept to get in the course. Exit page. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to drop this code in Slack. If anybody could share their screen. If anybody's on a computer, that would help a lot. Do we have any volunteers to share? Oh, actually, hold on, it's working now. Hold on. I just probably had to stop sharing. Load. You know what? Since the complete one loads up, we're just going to go through the code of the complete one instead of writing it. If this loads up.
I was gonna say, if anything, could you open the complete one, then erase the code in it?
Yeah. Yeah, the complete one opens up like nothing. This shit's so weird that the other one doesn't. I don't know what that's about.
Let's yeah, go ahead. It sounded like you was about to put a challenge out or something like that. Yeah.
I was gonna say for somebody to share their screen, but it's fine. We'll just go through the complete code. And I guess the good thing, like something positive that we can get out of this is just being able to read code on that, because that's something that's really, really important to do. So we have the complete one here. So uh,
Uh, I was gonna add something right quickly, if it was okay.
sure.
One of the, I
Oh,
think,
this
voice
is why I
cue.
was loading. Remember we trying to do that prime? That
Yeah,
prime here? Yeah. That's why I kept loading. It wasn't loading because of that. Oh my God. God, what was you gonna say, Jay?
nah, it was gonna be real quick, but I was gonna say to Sam that one of the code word problems, like the fourth Q, I think it's a fourth Q problem, is actually creating a class with certain uh with certain constructors and a certain method that you have to hook up to the class. So literally that problem is creating a class. And there's another little thing in there that you have to do before you can even if you create the class right and you code the method right, then it's still gonna mess up. So like I posted that problem on there. So if you wanted to create a class in that little queue on Code Wars, and he could do that, and probably kind of understand, maybe get some understanding on classes a little bit more because they have to study it and then put it in a practical application.
Yeah.
And then I probably have to give him a hint if he learning how to do classes, because then it ain't gonna work even if you get it right. Because yeah, that's something that's slightly messed up with what's going on. But it's an easy fix though. All right, I'm done. Thank you for letting me have the floor, sir.
What's it called? So The reason that thing kept loading the way it did was because we had those prime numbers, but that prime number function, remember last week, we threw all of those numbers in the, why does this keep opening up the wrong one? This is the complete one. Oh yeah, this is the one we was working on. Okay. Yeah, we did I didn't realize how much we did. But yeah, we had that prime number function. Let me see if I can go back. I can't go back. But either way, that function was taking a really, really long time to load. Right. Now, this one here, this one, we were running this, but this brings up something in JavaScript. Like I had a whole bunch of numbers in here. With JavaScript, um, when we're reading through this HTML, and as soon as we get to what was it, memory.js, that is on line here. That's this line. As soon as we get here, we don't move past this line until it reads all of the JavaScript in that file. And because this, we were running this function with that really, really large number, we couldn't fully load the page until we were done with this, which it just wasn't going to be complete because of how long it takes to load. And that's something to know with JavaScript. You really don't want to have functions that take a long time to calculate. And if you do, once we get to React, we're gonna learn about something that helps us to cache or like save the value of a very complex operation, so that every time you call the function, it's with the same parameters, it's gonna give you back the same. It's gonna give you back the same number that is saved in memory. Like there's small like things in JavaScript that helps us deal with complex functions. And we're gonna learn about it when we get to React. And we're gonna start React next week on Sunday, by the way. So we're gonna push through a lot of this stuff, and we're gonna continue. And even though some of y'all didn't complete the course, I still want y'all to complete the course while we do React, because some of the concepts that we're gonna do in React is in the course. So you'll just be doing it on your own time. But yeah, I got rid of that function call. I'm gonna get rid of this too because I don't need that. And the page loads fine. But that is an example of like how JavaScript works. So either way, where we left off at, we were able to press the start button. We were able to press this button, this screen here also, and we got to this this board. Obviously, nothing happens right now, so we have to put in all the logic to make this work. I did not look at the complete code, so our solution might be different than how I did it in the course, but it's going to be very similar because my mind thinks very like similarly when it comes to like solving problems. So in the complete one, right, as soon as we get to this screen, what the computer does is it clicks one of these boxes, right? So it clicks one of these boxes, and it clicks one of those boxes at random. It clicks a random box every time. So we need a way to click a random box. Can anybody give me like any idea of anything we can use to get a random value?
Use the math.random.
Yeah.
What was it? Say it again.
Math.random.
Math, right, exactly. Math.random. So what is this? This is, we're not using
That was for the is prime function. Yep.
So we need a way to get a random thing. Math.random is the thing to use. Now we have 4 different squares here. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to build a function to get something random out of like 4 different like items. Like I'm just going to build it to spit out a random number 1 through 4. So const get random num. Let's see. A random num, and even better. Actually, no, I'm gonna keep it simple, and we're gonna transform this function to do what we needed to do. Yes, random is the first thing that we're gonna use. In math.random, it gives us a number between 0 and 1, not including 1. So I'm gonna just do this step by step until we like complete the whole, like all of the functionality. I'm just gonna return math.random. Like, let's say I just didn't know how this worked. Right. We're just gonna do it step by step. And stop me if anybody have any questions. And actually, I'm just going to console log it directly in here. So I think that's probably just better. So I'm going to console log math.random. Cool. And then I'm going to call this function. See, there's something in the chat. Okay. All right, cool. So let me open up the dev tools. Okay, all right. I don't know what those errors were, but anyway, this is the output of math.random. That's what that is, because we're calling that function. Now, what we need to do is we want to get a number between 1 and 4. So what we can do is, since this gives us a number between 0 and 1, this gives us a number between 0 and 1, not including 1. The way we, how do we, anybody know how do we get something from 0 and 4 instead of 0? Right, multiply by 4. 0 times 4 is obviously 0, but 1 times 4 is 4. So this effectively gives us a number between 0 and 4. So if I refresh this, we get a number between 0 and 4 every time.
Not
See,
including.
that's where I messed up at. I don't know. I didn't know that math. Like, I didn't know to do that.
Yeah.
Like, go back. Let me see.
It's one of those things where it's like you had to see it first to that's what this is doing. When we multiply by 4, we're just doing it from 0 to 4 at that point. Something. Yeah, that is how we do it. But the problem here is that, oh, did I answer your question? Was that Diamond?
Yes, yeah, you did. It makes sense every time y'all do it. It's just if I'm doing it by myself, I'm like, dang, how would I do this? But yeah, note of it.
Yeah. So but yeah, so this gives us back almost what we want. Now we want whole numbers. So how do we get whole numbers from this?
We float.
Right. So that's one way. Now, if we do a math.floor, we actually have to multiply it by 5. And the reason is because when we get to 3 point something, since it doesn't get to 4, it's always going to be a number between 0 and 3 instead, because we never go above 4 to floor it to be 4. You know what I mean? So go ahead.
If you push it to the ceiling though,
right,
you get a little something different.
Exactly. So we'll do a math.ceil. And let me just do I'm just going to say A or whatever. This is A. And I'll just say B equals math.ceil A. And this gives us a number between 1, because when it's 0 point something, it's going to go all the way up to 1 automatically. It's going to be between 1 and 4. Now, let me see something. And actually, I might want to math.floor this actually, because I just thought of an edge case that is very not likely to come up. Now, math.random gives us a number between 0 and 1, right? It includes 0. It does not include 1. So if ever we get 0, just like straight 0, it's automatically gonna actually no, it's gonna stay at 0. Actually, never mind. This works. don't worry about what I was just saying. So this works. Let me cancel all of this out. B, because it's gonna stay at 0 if we do that. So
I
yeah,
was gonna say you probably gonna wanna. Oh, okay, there we go.
1, 3, 2, 4, 3. Yeah, they are there. And honestly, like instead of doing a refresh, I could just like I could just use code to just do it for me. Let I equals 0 and just give me a whole bunch of less than, let's say 100. I won't even need to go that high, honestly. So I'll say 20 I plus plus. Then we'll just do this whole thing in here just to see like, okay, we get a whole bunch of results. Are all of them consistent? And that'll do it for us. So we don't have to.
You have to put the whatchamacallit in the for loop for it to run, because you defined it outside the for loop. Shouldn't it run in the for loop? You shouldn't have to define A and B.
Yeah. So I the reason I defined it here is because I want these to recalculate every time. If I define it outside the for loop, every time.
Fair enough. That makes sense. Yep. No, that makes sense. Plenty of sense.
So this works. We get 1 and 4, cool. And let's get rid of that because we were just using it to test. And okay, so we got that. And let me just honestly just combine this. I'm just combining these in one step. Math.ceil like that. I'm just gonna get rid of that. Just log A. I'm just gonna say random num. I'll log the random num. So this effectively gives us a number between 0. Between 0 and 4. 0, 1. Between hold on. Now I'm going back on what I said about this ceil. This gives us a number between this can give a 0. It can give a 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's 5 numbers. Let's actually do math.floor. And we can see this. Let me actually
you can still get 0 with math.floor, correct?
Yeah, you can. But this gives us back 5 different numbers. That's the thing. And let me show y'all actually, and I'm gonna let code do it for me.
I was gonna say, so are you just gonna math.floor and then just add 1? So math.floor or math.random times 4 plus 1, all that within a math.floor, just to make sure that you push it up from 0, so it doesn't include 0 anymore.
I see what you're saying. So this one includes 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? It has 5 numbers here. Now, if it is 0 and we push, so if we do the push, if we push all these up by 1, it's still going to have 5 numbers in there. It'll just be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, yeah, it being 0 is very unlikely. Like it is like really, really unlikely that's going to be 0, but it's a possibility. And we can see it if we run, if we do this. Let's see. For loop, and this probably has to run for a very, very long time. I'm just gonna say I'm just gonna say 1,000. I plus, and I know I gotta fix a few of these things. Say this, right? Say A is this. If A equals 0, that's a lot. We'll just do this all the way through.
Since the else console log nothing.
Don't even need to do that. I'm just going to console log 0 with A equals 0 because it proves that there's a 0 in there. Do that and see. We can see how unlikely this is. Yeah, it just never logs 0, but it's possible. It's definitely possible. Yeah, very unlikely, like I said. But either way, either way, since it is a case that can happen, we don't ever want those edge cases to exist in our app. So the way to fix this is to do math.floor. But if we do math.floor, we'll have to multiply it by 5 because this will give us between 0 and 5. And if we math.floor it, we're going to have always 0, 1, 2, 3, hold on, and 4. That, yeah, that's still 5 numbers, no matter if we seal it or floor it. So I guess what we can do is we can build in edge case, like you were saying. If this equals 0, we'll just say random number equals 1. We'll just make it 1, and that'll fix it. And this will almost never run, obviously, but it's still an edge case that we got to take into account.
I was gonna ask if we could just math.seal, multiply by 3, add 1. Then you erase the 0, and then you you can get your extra digit in. Yeah. So that then it'll be from 1 to 3. If I add 1 to it.
Yeah, I think that will work actually. Yeah, that would definitely work. Yeah.
Well, math.
Wait, hold on. Math.seal. Oh, you said math.floor? You said? Or seal? Which one did you? Math.seal.
Math.floor.
Math.floor.
Yes. There you go.
There we go. So we'll always get, okay, cool. So with
0 and 3. And then you add 1 is between 1 and 3. So I just
wait, this just gives us back 3 numbers though, right? This will always give us back. So this portion will always give us back these 3 numbers.
0, 1,
We're gonna add 1 to all of these, and we still got 3 numbers. So it don't really fix it. But I mean, the way people use it, people don't normally take into account that random use case or whatever. Like this one, because it's not likely, but I think it's important to take into account this use case. And I'm using a shortcut. Let me actually do this even further. So if this is true, and I'll just put these in parentheses so we can see what's going on. If that's true, we're going to do this, and we got to make it let, because if we're going to reassign it, if this is true, we do this. Else we don't do anything. I just put no. Another shortcut y'all can use for those if statements. Another thing I wanted to show y'all actually is and this is like a little random, but actually I'll just put it in here. If y'all ever see these double exclamation points, this is something I didn't put in the course. Let me zoom in. Double exclamation point. Like, can somebody guess at what this does if I add that there?
Well, I know 1 does not, like if you have 1 exclamation point. So
Strictly not.
I guess double would be true. I don't know.
Strictly not.
Say it again. Samuel.
I said strictly not.
No, it's not strictly not. So let me show y'all. Remember I was telling y'all that let's see. Let's say A equals like 2, right? Now if I do A, right, it's gonna print out 2. If I do not A, it prints out false. If I do not A, it prints out true. Now, this not converts whatever this is, whatever the variable is, to a Boolean. Just like we was doing before when we were doing Boolean, and I was putting like the number 2 in there and we got true or false. But this not converts it to a Boolean. Now, to put the double not converts it to what it actually is. It turns into false. We know that 2 is true because 2 is truthy, I should say. But we want to turn into a Boolean sometimes. And in that case, then, we want to do the double not so that we can get the actual value of the number. Does this make sense? I'm not even sure if I explained this, if I explained it the right way.
So not turns it to Boolean and returns true or false, and then double not turns into a Boolean, then returns the actual value. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Like we put one exclamation point, we got false. False, this is truthy. False is falsy, technically. To get whether or not it's actually truthy or falsy, or like a true value or a false value, we want to put the double exclamation point. The reason I'm showing y'all this is because y'all going to see solutions with these double exclamation points on there. And this is literally people trying to convert this to a true or false value. Sometimes you don't want to check the actual value, and that comes into play whenever you let me see, whenever you're checking something that's not like let me see. Whenever you're expecting either a true or false value, that's one case. And other, and actually, I think that's really the only reason. Whenever you're expecting one of these two. So if I had an if statement, right, and I say, if let's say I had, let me clear this. Let me just clear this real quick. We still have A. A is 2, right? We still have B. We don't have B. Let me create B. I say B is 1, right? B is 1. Let's say I had an if statement, and I wanted to check if both A and B are truthy. I want to do something. We can't do this. Actually, let's say we wanted to check to see if both of these are either truthy or falsy. We can't really set the double equals here, or even the same, or even like the we can't even do this, like the double equal or the triple equal, because these values don't equal each other. But if we wanted to check if they were both truthy or falsy, we would convert them both to Booleans. And that's how we can compare if two values are both truthy or falsy or whatever. And this use case may come up. Now it's rare, but if ever you wanted to see, okay, I wanted these two values to be truthy to do something else, this is how you would do it.
So like, for example, if I wanted to check maybe like an empty string or something like that, I could use that.
Yeah. Well, empty string was falsy. So yeah, but you can do it if you wanted to convert it to a Boolean. Now, I think a good example of this is, let's say you're on a website, right? And you want to buy something from the website. You have to check first if the item is in the cart, and you got to check so if that's truthy, or and what also has to be truthy is the credit card information has to be there. You can do something like this. Now, obviously, this is not the only way to do it, but you can check both cases. Okay, is the item in the cart, is the credit card information good? We'll say, okay, we actually charge the card, since both of those things are true. Does that make sense? But yeah, but like I said, this is one moment. But yeah, that's what this does, and I'm just going to use it here just so we have an example of it, because this is going to give me what this is, if it's actually truthy or falsy. And to be honest, I can just do this because 0 is a falsy value, and this is going to give me false automatically. So that's what that does. Is it 10:55? Okay. So we have this function that gives us back a number between 1 and it gives us a number between 1 and 4, right? The only reason I wanted to do that is because there's 4 boxes here. Now, instead of getting a number between 1 and 4, what I want to do is I want to get access to one of these boxes here. So I know that each one of these boxes has an ID on them. And this is a way for me to identify which box is which. Top left has this top left ID. top right has the top right ID. I'm gonna start putting those in in array, because we're gonna do something with this array. And I'm gonna get the other two IDs. Like this. And this one here. All right, so we got 4 things here, which is very similar to getting a number between 1 and 4. The only difference is now, now we have to pass in some array, and now we got to get one of these things out of the array. Now this already gives us back a number between 1 and 4, right? This can almost represent an index in this array. We know that this is index 0, 1, 2, 3. And maybe we actually want to do math.floor so we can get an index instead. I think this will work. And this will just be the index in the array. So now we can return the array at a certain index, and this index is always going to be 0 through 3. Multiply it by 4. And it's going to be, when we do floor, we're always going to get a number between 0 and 3. Just look understandable.
So if you add 1 to that, then you'll get a number between 1 and 4.
Right. But I need 0 and 3 because this is 0 index. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And I could use that while passing in all these IDs. And to be honest, I'm just going to pass it directly in here, like this, because y'all might see stuff like this also. It's just me getting y'all used to how other people might write code. So it might look like that.
So you didn't pass in just okay. There you go.
Right. Yep. I just passed in the array, and it's gonna give me back a random box because it's gonna give me back a random ID. So I'll just call that box ID. Right, and I'm just gonna log out what box ID is. I'll refresh. So we always get a random index from the array. Now with that, we have to use this ID to simulate a click. Now, obviously the computer can't actually click the box. So since we have the ID, we can make it look like a click. Now, let's see, how long is not defined. Okay, there's a few things that I have to, okay, that's where all these errors was coming from. Okay, that's fine. So we're gonna worry about those errors later. But either way, we get a random thing here. So a random box ID. So with that, we can give it like a highlight. So if I go here, actually, let me go to the CSS. There's some CSS in here that gives us the ability to highlight one of these boxes. So memory game. I think this is it. I think this is it. Okay. So anything that has a class of both MG square and CPU click gets this background color. This is going to represent the computer click. So if I literally give this a class, it already has a class of MG square. Like all of these have a class of mg squared. So it has that, but it just don't have the other one. If I give it the other one, we can see that the color change. So what we want to do is we want to give it this class whenever we get that random box. So anybody know how to give an HTML element a class?
Is it the add attribute?
Set.
Yeah, you could do that. But go ahead, Jay. What were you gonna say?
I think it's set attribute.
Set attribute.
You can use the
add,
class
but set.
list.
Yeah, you can use the class list. Yeah. So
Mhm.
let me show y'all. And the class list is probably cleaner because you write less code. And I'll show both ways. So first, we had to, and obviously I'm about to move this code into a function as well. But let me just paste that here so I know what to add. And I'll just put this in a function right now, actually. I'll say highlight random. I'll actually click random box. That's what this is going to be. Click random box. Inside of this function, we're going to call this. First, we're gonna do this here. First, we're going to get a random ID from that. Then after we get the random ID, we'll do document dot get element by ID. We'll pass in the box ID. And then I'm gonna first go to the attribute one, right? And it is set attribute. It's set attribute. We will set the class, and now this is I'm gonna show y'all where this bug comes in at that we're about to see and how we can fix it. And then I'll show you just like class list and why it's so much cleaner. So we set if we set the class to this, like watch what happens, right? So I'm gonna go here. Let me just go here. See. I didn't call it. Let me call this. And I'm gonna actually call this after like after like 4 seconds so that we can see it happen on the screen. I'm just gonna see 4 seconds. And hopefully I can refresh. And actually I'm gonna just do 6 seconds to give me some time to get back to the game board. Refresh this. Okay. After 6 seconds, it's gonna, okay, we see it. Like it's like this whole thing is screwed up. And the reason this is screwed up is because we literally set the class. So we set this class here. We set it to CPU click. Now it overwrote.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say what you finna say, so go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. You say it's better if the class see what happened. Go ahead.
No, so I was gonna say, so basically it erased the existing class attribute and then set a new class attribute to CPU click. So yeah, it just literally overrode everything that was already there.
Right.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, exactly. So to fix that,
No, is that strong?
We would have to first get the classes. So we would have to do document get element by ID, get attribute class. And then maybe it's get attributes, just get attribute and then class. And then we would have to add it to that. And that's a lot. So I'm just make classes. I'll just do it. I'll just log out with actually I'll put a debugger here.
I was gonna say, like, when is the best time to use a debugger and when is the best time to use the console.log?
It's really so debugger I would say use a debug. I don't know. It really depends. Like it comes with like whatever is easier for you to do it with at the time. I'm not sure if there's an exact answer, but a lot of times using a debugger is better than console log. The only what's it called it? the only time I use console log is when the debugger doesn't work. And I'm using it here for like demonstration purposes, but for me personally, like the only time, and actually I'm gonna stop using it here because I don't want y'all to think that that's the best way to do it. I'm just gonna use the debugger from now on, and y'all gonna see when I switch to console log, but we're gonna almost always use it.
Okay.
Anyway, we got the classes. Then we would have to add to this string the new class, and then we would have to set the attribute. And you can see all those steps that we did, that we would have to do. And I'm not about to do all the steps out, but that y'all get the point of this. And obviously, you know, we would have to like add CPU click to that CPU click. And this is going to get us the full class list. And then we would set the classes to this, just to show y'all real quick. We would do this, and that will help. And I know that this probably looks very odd, but it works the way we got it done. See, just concatenating to the already existing classes. And then we're gonna set the class, and that gives us what we want. But if we use class list to begin with, we can just delete that. We can do class list. Class list gives us back an array of classes. Now, class list has a method on it called add, and we can just literally add the class we want. All that done in one line. Refresh. Okay, that's what we want. Much quicker. Now, obviously that doesn't look like a click. So after a fraction of a second, let's just say 300 milliseconds, we're going to remove this class so that it looks more like a click. Class list.remove instead. And we're going to try that, and we're going to see that it looks like a click there. It'll look more like a click now. So that's a click. All right, so where we are now is, let me see if there's anything in the chat. Okay, so where we are now is we're able to get to the board, and we're able to click a box here on a random box. Now, now we have to do is when we play this game, we have to actually save the clicks that that is made on the board, and then use those clicks to like build up, like to make the game harder and harder to keep adding clicks so that the user is able to like keep like trying these clicks out. As I'm explaining that, I'm realizing that I have to create a function that clicks, that uses an ID and clicks the box. Now we did it here where we're getting a random ID and then clicking a box. But what we want to do eventually is pass in that random ID to click the box. So what I'm gonna do is
could you push those into an array and then just have it read from the array each time and add a new one and push a new one in there?
Right. That's how we're gonna do it. But first, let me I'm gonna create this function. I'm gonna just call it click box. This one's called click random box. This is gonna be click box. We're gonna pass it an ID like this, and then we're gonna put all of this in there. Click box. We're gonna pass it the random the box ID, and we're gonna use the box ID to click the box. So now we're able to get a random one because we're getting this random ID here and passing it to this, but we can also use this with an ID that we specify, because all we're doing is passing in an ID. That's all we're doing. I want y'all to notice like how we're breaking up this logic. Like we're making this functionality reusable with this random box click and like just a box click that we choose from. And obviously we're gonna choose from an array of saved clicks. So every time the computer click one of those boxes, we're gonna push the ID in this array. That's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna get a random random ID, and then we're gonna push that random ID to the save clicked array. And then we're gonna use that random ID to actually click the box here. Now, every time we call this array is gonna get bigger and bigger. And it's gonna be more and more box IDs in here, more and more random box IDs in here. And then we're able to read from this array so that we can like show the user like the clicks over again, so that we can remind them, hey, these were the clicks that that you have to do. Yeah, let me get rid of this. I don't think we need this anymore.
So then do we have to still read from those already saved clicks and then rerun that click random box? I mean, rerun the click box function on those.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I'm about to move this actually up top. I'm moving it here because like you want to put all your functions at the bottom just to say organize, all your constants and stuff like that up here. And notice that this is a const. Like I know I said this before, but since we're adding to this, that's not changing the value. Const means that you can't reassign it to something else, but we're never reassigning it. We're just updating what it's already reassigned to. So we can put const here.
You're not changing the state, I think is what you said last time.
Right, like you're not like right. Well, you changing. I would say you're not changing the place that this is stored on your computer. Like when we set this equal to something, they stored it. This value is stored on your computer somewhere. When we reassign it to something else, if we do like save click equals another array, this, even though this is like the same as this essentially, this means that we're going to reassign to something, and then now we're going to save it to a different part of your computer. It's not saved to the same location on your computer, and that really defines how const works. Just don't reassign it, basically. So, all right, so we have that up there, and we're going to be pushing these in there like that. Now, when we first let's see, when we first get to the game board, we want to click one of these boxes. And when we first get to the game board, we're actually clicking, we're clicking this. Memory games, no, that's not it.
Game starts.
This is that, I think this is the directions. Is it the directions button? Let me check the HTML. Memory game. All right, so no, that's not it. Memory. Here we go. All right, we have a few things. So yeah, it is memory game start. You're right. So memory game start. So when we do memory game start, what we automatically want to do is run this click random box. So click random box inside of memory game start. And we're about to see something that we're going to change also about. I just want to show you all that real quick. So as soon as we click this screen, we're going to see something. You see it just highlighted right away. Now, that can be a user experience thing where it's like, okay, you're not expecting to see. We saw that. Hold on. We saw that it flashed right away. Maybe somebody might not realize that it flashed. So we want to do, we want to give the user some time to really take in what the board looks like before the flash happens. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna click it after, I'm gonna run this after 1 second so that it's easier for the user to see what's going on. If somebody just completely new, I'll press start, and then this, it's gonna wait a second before it clicks, and that's better for us. Okay. So that's that. Let's see, what time is it? 11:16. Now, whenever it clicks this, what we want to be able to do is click this box the way I'm doing it now. And obviously this is already set up. So we want to be able to click this box and check to see if what we click is the correct click or not. Now these boxes, let's see, these boxes, they should have click events on them, on clicks. So they have this on click here. So whenever you click it, it's running this function, memory game guess. If we go here and we click this, it's telling us that memory game guess is not defined. So we got to define that function. Let me define the function, memory game guess. And we saw from the HTML that it's passing in one of the IDs. And the ID that's passing in is its own ID. You see memory game MG top right, MG top right. So it's passing in the ID. We're just gonna log it. ID like that, just to make sure we did this correct way. So we can see that it's logging the right thing. So this is memory game left, memory game, memory game top left, memory game bottom left, memory game bottom right. The next thing we're gonna do, any questions with that before I move on? Okay, so
Nope.
next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get rid of all these other errors. It keeps calling these add highlight on them. We saw from like the complete version. Let me open that up. On the complete version, when we hover over these, we can see that there's like a highlight here. So we wanna add those in, and that's why these are fired in the way they are. If I go to the HTML, I can see that it has a on mouse over and an on mouse leave. Whenever the mouse is over the box, it's going to run this add highlight function, which is not defined yet. So we're going to define that add highlight, and it passes an ID, and it's the same ID that it's the exact same ID that the box is named. And I'm going to also create this remove highlight. So we got memory game guess, add highlight, remove highlight. Let's go to the console, refresh, make sure all those errors are gone. Yeah. So anytime we move, a mouse over event gets fired, and every time we leave, the mouse leave event gets fired. So now we're able to keep track of which boxes we're currently hovering over and which boxes we're clicking just by using all those events. Those events are very powerful. We're going to use those in React as well. They're going to look a little bit different, but it's going to be the same concept. So with that, with all of this stuff, whenever we either hover or click, what we want to do is we want to actually whenever we hover, we want to give it those highlights first. We're going to do the click afterwards. If I go to the CSS, see memory game highlight, we want to give it this class every time we highlight, every time we hover over, we want to give it this highlight. And every time we actually let me do this little by little. When we hover over, we give it the highlight. So document get element by ID. We're going to do the same thing with the class list. I'm going to add the class of this here. Give it some space. I'm going to add this class. Let me refresh so we can see that happen. So hold on, something's wrong. Cannot read properties, no. So it can't read class list. So that the problem is I did not put ID here. So get element by ID, the ID that we passed in, class list dot add memory game highlight. There was I had messed up in there. Just want to get rid of that console log. Let's try that again. Okay, that's highlighted. And now the only problem is that when we left the box, the highlight is not removed. So we'll do the same thing we did before. We'll do this and we'll say remove. So when we leave the box, it's going to remove that highlight. Therefore, like turning it back to how it was before. So it's highlighted. This one was clicked, that's why it highlighted blue. But when I leave out, it removes the highlight. So now we can, now it looks like we're actually hovering over or highlighting the boxes. So that works. We're gonna work on the click. But before that, what I want to do is I want to refactor some of this stuff. Could somebody tell me, like, just by looking at this, could somebody tell me like what I should refactor, like what looks like
The word memory highlight probably can get refactored, turned into a variable.
Right. Exactly. And I'm just going to put it here and let's put the actual name. Memory highlight. Memory, and we got highlight. Perfect. Now, every time we see this, just going to do a find and replace. Actually, let me just do the next one first. Replace that. And just complicated. Where's the other one at?
You erased it, so you just got it. Yeah, there you go.
So that does that. Okay, and that is it that I can see. Now, because we're using arrow functions and we're only doing one thing inside of here, I'm just gonna make this more simplified. Let's get rid of those curly brackets all on one line, and we should still see the same result. Okay, perfect. And I think that is all I can refactor for now. So let me
You have a function, that function get by ID, so you don't have to necessarily use document.get element by ID.
Right. Thank you. I forgot about that one. Get by ID. Let me make sure that I have that. Yeah, I'm definitely using it. And just for quickly, it's inside of the util JS folder, passing ID, and we're just doing the document.get element by ID. Saves a few characters, not necessary, but like it helps to just save all those characters. So, but yeah, that's a good call out. I'm actually going to replace all of those. I'm gonna do the final replace for this one because this is gonna take longer. So okay, get by ID, perfect. Yeah, and if y'all do see other room for improvement, definitely yell it out so I can like update it. I think that's everything I see so far. Okay. All right, so let's work on this now. Now when we click it, right, we're still logging out like the actual ID of the box, right? Now what we want to do is we want to compare what we clicked with what the computer saved in this array here, saved clicks. So so I'm gonna do something, and then I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna do something in the code. Then I'm gonna show you how it breaks, and then I'll show you how to fix it. So what we want to do is we'll say if ID equals save click at index 0. We'll say console log click is the same. Let's say click is the same for now. So if I refresh, and obviously this is going to break eventually because we're passing in this index here, but I just want to show you the general concept. So I click this, it says click is the same. Now if I click another box, it's not saying click is the same. It's just printing out the ID. And let me actually get rid of that because this gets confusing. Actually, let me put an else in here. Else. Click is not the same. So refresh. Okay. So click is the same. I do this. Click is not the same. Click is not the same. Click is not the same. Now, we want to do a few things. First thing we're going to do is take care of this case where the click is the same. If the click is the same, right? What we want to do is we want to have the computer rerun. We want a computer pick another random box, and then click according to the sequence that is saved inside of this this saved click array. So if this is true, what we want to do is we want to do
we storing the user clicks in an array and check and see if each of the indexes in that array of clicks is the same as the array of saved clicks. Are we gonna do it like that? Run a for loop or something like that, or
let me see. Yes, it's actually I'm not even sure how we're going to, let me see if we click one. Basically we're going to keep track of how many clicks. It's not going to be a for loop. We're going to keep track of how many clicks we make. But let me we're going to get to that though. That's we're going to get to that after this step real quick, just to build up to that. So if the click is right, what we want to do is we want to have the computer save another, like have another box to click, essentially, right? Now the way we do that is by running this function. This is going to give us like a problem actually, and we're about to see the problem that this is going to cause. We want to run click random box again, because we know click random box has the ability to get a random box and then click that box. Now the problem with running this is that when it does that, it literally gets a random box and clicks it. It doesn't replay all of the other previously clicked boxes. Because it's only going to pass in one box ID, one random box ID. And I'm gonna show you. Let me just show you how that works real quick, and then we're gonna solve for that problem. So if it is here, and now it's going to click another random box. Wait, did it already? I think it clicked it too fast for me to realize that it clicked it. I think that's what it was. Let me yeah. Okay, we don't want that to fire right after. Like we wanted to have some time in between. Let me fix that real quick. Here we'll do the same thing here, and we're about to see actually some room for improvement because we just now repeated ourselves. But let me first handle this case really quick. So okay, here, right? A second later, it clicks this one, right? Now, what we want to do is we want to replay this and then do this one here. So what we can do is we can update this click box function to loop through all of the different saved box clicks instead of just clicking that random box that we passed into it. So what we'll do is, let's see, click box. What we'll do is, this is not going to get any ID. We're not going to pass anything in there. What we're literally going to do is we're going to loop through this. So this is where the loop is going to come in at. Us replaying the previously clicked boxes. So we'll just do a for each here. I'll loop through this. We're going to have each box, or each box ID. Actually, let's just do box ID. And actually just say ID. I'm gonna be more explicit. Box ID. And inside of this, we're gonna run this. But instead of, we know that whenever we run this for loop, everything's gonna run like literally back to back. And I'm gonna show y'all at first how this works, and then I'm gonna correct it from there. But we're gonna loop through this. This contains all of the IDs. We obviously we push one in here to begin with. And as soon as we run this, we're gonna loop through, and then we're gonna click all of those boxes.
So your second get by ID, doesn't that need to be changed to box ID?
Right, it does. Thank you.
Then you're not passing in any box ID. So
right here. So we looping through the save clicks. Remember, the save click has, we pushing a new box ID every time.
Oh no, yeah, I get that. I'm just saying, even in your, never mind. Okay.
Yeah,
never mind.
Parameter. Yeah. So let me go back. It's gonna work on the first click, but you're gonna see the issue when we get to the second click. So, okay, it worked on the first click. Now if I click this, it clicks two at the same time. We saw that. Now the reason it clicked two at the same time is because it's running this for loop really fast. So what we want to do is we want to give this a set timeout in between each of these clicks. Now, how I can do that is I can have a timeout here, and I'll start it at 0 because the first click don't need any like time in between. So I'll say set timeout. Then I'll put this stuff in here. Then I'll pass it the timeout. And after it gets through, after it runs this, I'm gonna take the set. I'm gonna take the timeout, and I'm gonna add to it 1 second.
I thought it was gonna be 300 seconds.
I can do 300 actually. It might be too fast. Let me just do. Let me do half a second real quick just to see if that's better. I thought about doing 300 milliseconds. So click that. Yeah. Okay. So we can see that says click not to. Wait, I'm not sure. Yeah, it says click not the same. But either way, like we saw that we solved the problem. We saw the problem where like it clicks it, but has like some padding in between, like some time in between. I'm gonna change that to 800 so that it's more. Actually, I'll change it to I'll keep it at 1,000 for now. Just 1 second, because I'm gonna adjust all of these times a little bit later when we refactor. So I click that. There's that, and then another one. Okay, now that works. Now, if we, let me see, if we click this twice, okay, it works, and I think it did it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's like some bugs here. There's like a lot of random stuff going on.
Oh yeah, that mug dancing.
Yeah. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm not even sure where it's even coming from. But this is a good place to put a debugger. But all right, so basically, let me see. We're gonna run through this and we're gonna see where this loop even like began. So the very first time this is run is in here. I'm gonna put a debugger here just so that we can step through all of it. And actually, I'm not even gonna put it in there. I'm gonna go over here and put it. What's this? Memory game start. I just ran Control P, and I'm just gonna search for the file name memory game JS, and I'm gonna go to that function, and I'm gonna just put a debugger directly in there. And let me just refresh this. That debugger stays right there. I'm gonna walk through this whole thing. So I clicked it. It's gonna get rid of the directions. It's gonna add the board back, and then it's gonna run this set timeout. I'm gonna press play. After 1 second, it stops at the debugger. I'm gonna go inside of that with this step into function. You can either run this one or you can run this one, the step function, and that goes inside of it as well. So step, now we're gonna choose a random box. We go inside of math.random to get that random box. Okay, we got the random index, which is 1. The array at the random index is what's called MG top right. Now we're gonna run this save click.push, and we're gonna push that random box inside of there. Now we're gonna go inside of click box and then loop through this array. This array has only one thing inside of it. So let me actually put some debuggers here. I'm gonna just hit play. When I hit play, it's gonna stop at the next debugger. So now we're at MG top right. Okay, cool. I'm gonna hit play. So it's gonna go inside of there after 0 seconds, basically. So get by ID, we're gonna pass it the ID, and we're gonna add this to the class, the CPU clip. Okay. Get by ID, we gotta go inside of that because that's in util. We got the ID. I mean, we got the element. Now we got by ID. And now we're going to add the class list. We add the CPU class. Now it's there. Now after 300 milliseconds, we're gonna remove it and get by ID. Obviously, we got the element because we use this part here. Now we're gonna add the class. I mean, we're gonna remove the class of CPU click. If it removes it, I'm gonna hit play, and we walk through that whole thing. Now we did see that the problem was that the second time we went through. So I'm gonna click it once, and now after I click it, it's hit play really quick. Okay, it skipped a few. Wait, something weird just happened. It did not go back. Let's see. When I clicked it, it was supposed to. Let me just put a debugger here also. Let me just do a refresh. So, because I want to see all of those steps. Start. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna hit play. Hit play. I'm gonna take that one out and just hit play. It gives it the class and then it removes the class. Okay, cool. So if I click this, it goes inside of here. Okay. Now, if we go inside of that function, we'll get another random box, which is MG top right this time instead of top left. We push into this array. Cool. Now we have 2 things in there. Now we go inside of this function. I'm gonna just hit play. Actually, I'm gonna put debugger here. I'm gonna hit play. You see that we passed 2 things in there. I'm gonna hit play again. First, we're gonna add the class, and then we're gonna remove the class. So this guy. There's always some. Let's see. Supposed to remove the class.
Is
Actually,
it basically adding both of them at 300 seconds? Is that what it's doing?
I think that's probably
Got that classless add set timeout. You're doing a get by ID, and then you're doing that. You're doing that in 300. No, hold on. Let's see.
yeah. The
Nice.
next one shouldn't fire until what's it called?
Time.
A second. So this it should be removed before this one fires.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a point where I want to add the console logs. And the reason I'm going to add these console logs is because we're working with these set timeouts. And these set timeouts, like they don't always give you the best results when you use debuggers. Sometimes these timings are off when you use debugger like that. So that's an example of when to get rid of those debuggers. And I'm gonna just get rid of them everywhere. Because I want this to run in real time, like real time. The debugger is like almost real time. All right, so what I want to do is I'm just going to debugger here. I'm just going to log out what save clicks is. That's the first thing I want to do. And let me, before every log, I'm just going to log a line. Then I'm going to log the array. Then I'm going to log the box we're currently at, the box ID. And I usually do it like this. So box ID. Then I'm going to log adding click
Class.
highlight for this box ID, and I'll put removing click highlight for this. So we should see all of this stuff logged. And from here, we should be able to figure out what's going on. Just do a refresh. So let me.
Have something in the chat.
Yeah, let me. I'm thinking async. No. We so async await. We only want to use those when actually we can use it with the set timeouts, but it might be overkill to use async await. And the thing with async await is that it's going to let's see, with async await, it's going to wait until like the set timeout is done before it runs the other one or before it continues the code. And we don't want it to do that. But that's a good definitely a good suggestion. Or like the way I see that you're thinking in the right direction. But yeah, we can't use async await in this case. Let me start it and open this up. Okay, so it has this one thing in there. We log the ID that we're currently on, we're adding it, and then we're removing it. Okay, cool. So let me clear this again. I click this. All right, so it ran this. Okay, now it has two things in there. The box we were on, and we clicked it, we removed it, added it, removed it. I'm not even sure. Okay, we click top right, and then top right again. Okay, all right, this is the problem.
It's not changing the ID. Is it adding the ID that you clicked? So it's adding your clicked ID in there?
No, I'm gonna show you real. I'm gonna do it again real quick. I know that it's not that, but let me just do it again real quick. So it clicked this, right? I'm gonna click that. Right now, I want you to notice something. I have to click this one and then this one. I'm gonna click the first one. I didn't click the next one before I started adding. So it's not waiting for me. It's not waiting for me to complete all of my clicks. And that was the problem. And that's why all those things was running that way. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I literally clicked it once and it started to already find the other random box before I was done. So I want to tell it when to start, because I don't want it to look for another random box every time I click one of those boxes. Only when I'm done clicking. Only when I can guess all of the different like sequences or so yeah, let me update that in the code. So you figured out what the problem was. Thank you, console logs.
Shout out console log.
Yeah. So we only want to run this when we're done. That's the problem. So the only way for us to know when we're actually done is by knowing which click we're currently on. So this function needs to have access to which click we're currently on. Also, wait, hold on. Yeah, need to access which click we're currently on. So let me add a variable. I'll say current. Let's say current click. Right now we know that we're not done until the current amount of clicks equals the same length as like the same amount of things that's inside of this array. When we add one thing to this array, we want to make sure that this current click is equal to, we're going to start with 0. The current click is equal to the number of things that's inside of the array. So every time we click this and we successfully click the right box, we're going to increment that number. And if current clicks equals the length of this, then we're going to have the computer click another box.
Question. Can we do a ID? So in our on line 35, if ID is directly equal to save clicks at current click at the index of current click.
ID is equal to, yes. Yeah, we're gonna change this. Yeah. We're gonna change this at ID of current click. Exactly. That's exactly how we're gonna do it. But there's one problem here. Every time I fire this function, current click is going to start off at index of 0 every time. So in order for us to keep track of which one we're currently at, we want to move this variable to be a global variable.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So now we're able to reference that same global variable and update it to be a higher number every time. And we're going to always check the current click index that we're at and compare it to the ID. Yeah. So this knocked out those two things. Anybody have questions on that? I know that was a lot for this. All right, cool. So we're checking that. Let me see. Let's see if this works now, actually. So let's see if we fixed it. Okay, click that. Okay, I'm gonna click this and it says click is not the same. It's interesting. So
that's because we never rigged up like if we got the wrong click, what the game does.
Yeah, but it was the correct click. That's the thing. It was the correct one. And I think it has something to do with this index right here.
Because it's stored globally, so it doesn't it's not gonna reset to 0.
Right, exactly. It's not gonna reset to 0, exactly. So
Yeah, so it needs
inside
to
of,
reset to 0.
right, exactly. There we go. Every time we call random click, we're gonna reset it back to 0. Okay. Okay, so it's working out. Cool.
I'm also noticing that this favors the top left and right boxes.
I think it's a coincidence. Only because that random math at random is it's supposed to give us a random box. If I refresh, I'm thinking it won't do it. Let's see. So it's still at the top. Still top. That's interesting.
And it seems like top right is even winning out now.
So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do what I did before. Like this has to give us back. Like just to be sure. And I know that this is like calculated a certain kind of way also. Let me see 4. But this is supposed to be random. It's supposed to be not like predictable at all. All right, let's say 100. I want to see let's index. See something. So we started off at top right. Start off at top right, top left, top right, top left, top right, top left. Why is it always saying top?
Yeah, top.
Look at that. Look at that.
Would you look at that?
Top. What is going on here? So this function is broken. This is broken. We did math out for. I'm almost wondering if it's this line.
If index is truthy, then we'll return 1, else we'll return no.
Yeah. Let me just.
So if it's anything between 1 and 4, it's always going to be truthy, right?
Yeah, if it's anything between 1 and 4, right?
So it's always going to return 1. Unless it's 0, then it's going to return no.
Yeah, so yeah, it is that. So what I want to do, what was I trying to do? If this.
So if you add 1 to that math.floor, I think you can get the same effect. So math.random or math.floor, math.random times 4 plus 1, and then you'll have 4 numbers, but not including 0 and including 4. Because if you push math.random multiplied by 4 down to the floor, it's going to be between 0 and 3. If you add 1 to that, then it's going to be between 1 and 4.
Yeah, but we need 0 because we need the 0 index. And I think I might have been I think I might have been overcomplicating this because this is always going to give us back 0.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yep.
Why I was overcomplicating that earlier?
Because we were trying to get between 1 and 4 because we was looking for
yeah,
we were trying to get between 1 and 4.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
but it changed because we're talking about index now.
Right. So definitely a mistake on my part. So yeah, this should be good every time. But yeah, this is something to point out. Like, Jay, he saw something that didn't look right. Now that we built this in a certain way that we separated out all of this functionality, we know exactly where the bug was at. The bug was inside of this function because this function, it was the thing that was giving us the random number. That is the reason we're breaking all of these down into these small chunks of functions so that we can find bugs faster. So yeah, that was definitely a good teaching point. And obviously we just did this so we can let JavaScript do the work for us. So yeah, does that make sense? Like while we work all of these up.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, now we should be good. Okay, we got a bottom one. Perfect. All right, cool. So this works. What time is it? 11:57. Now, I think we got most of it down, honestly. Now there's a few other parts we need to do. What I want to do is
You gotta wire up if it's wrong.
yeah, I gotta wire this up, then I gotta wire up the local storage part. I gotta wire up this number here.
Oh,
This
yeah, the high score.
And we gotta check to see if the highest, you gotta check to see if the highest score is correct. All of those parts I'm gonna leave to y'all. Now, the only thing I'm gonna do is where is it? Is wire up if you got it wrong. And the rest y'all can what's it called? Y'all can do on your own. So if you got it wrong, we want to, what do we want to do? We want to remove the border. So we're going to toggle the no display attribute on the border, and then we want to put the home screen back. So this. Y'all can see how we just reusing this exact same thing. So toggle the home screen back if we get it wrong. So if we got it right, it's just going to continue. But if we get it wrong, so that's right. And if I click here to get it wrong, it goes back to the home screen. And obviously this stays the same because we added that to local storage last time. But yeah, just for y'all take home, check local storage against, check the volume of local storage against the current number of guesses you have. And that current number of guesses is this here, click count. And if this is higher, this is going to be the new high score. Else, we're going to keep the same high score as before. And y'all can show like a little victory message or whatever at if y'all want. But yeah, we basically took care of the bulk of what we need to take care of. Now on Tuesday, we're going to, let me see, let me pull up the projects. Let me stop sharing for 2 seconds. On Tuesday, we're going to do the game. I mean let me pull these up real quick. I want to see how many, because I'm trying to get to React on Sunday. That's the goal. Preview. Okay. Share my screen again. Screen. So we just did memory game. We're going to skip those two. We're going to do, let's see, we're going to do Pokedex actually. Now, CRUD Store is a little bit more involved than Pokedex, but next week we're going to do, on Tuesday, we're going to do Pokedex because it's going to cover all of the same concepts we cover, well, some of the same concepts we cover in CRUD Store. As always, definitely still go through all of these things because we're not going to be able to do Pokedex unless you do inspirational quote, because this is where the information that you need is. So you still need to do inspirational quote on your own so you can get through these videos and then go to Pokedex. There's no video for Pokedex. Just notice that this is something that you do on your own. There's some information here inside of the resources. I mean, not there. There's some information here, some directions on what to do, and it basically gives you everything you need for the most part. But on Tuesday we're gonna go through this. We're gonna complete that, and then on Sunday we're gonna start React. Any questions on any of that? And obviously, like I said, make sure y'all finished all of these projects because y'all gonna need these. Like these concepts we're gonna be using in React, and I definitely want everybody to know it before coming in because I'm not gonna explain like basic stuff in here. So I want y'all to know it. Any questions?
So for React, are there like is there gonna be like video instructions similar to the JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, or how will we be learning and applying that?
Yeah. So we're gonna do a little shift. We're going to on Sunday. I'm gonna give y'all this W3 Schools, and on W3 Schools it has React in here as well. Learn React. I'm gonna tell y'all to go through a few of these pages to practice. And honestly, we're gonna start. Let me see. I don't think we started here. Are we starting? Yeah. I'm gonna tell y'all which pages to read through, and those are the pages y'all gonna do. And this it definitely breaks it down. And in class, I'm gonna review these pages. I'm gonna literally go through the same pages I asked y'all to go through, and I'm just gonna give examples of them so we can just review them. And that's how we're gonna do it. And after we get through all of this, I'm gonna teach. Oh wait, custom hooks are here. Okay, this is perfect. Yeah, we just gonna go through what's in here. So that's how we're gonna do it.
Got it. Okay.
Yay.
I want to start early. I'm gonna throw that in the Slack. Actually, I'm gonna throw it in the chat here. I'm gonna throw it in the Slack as well. For anybody that want to start early. Any other questions?
So we're starting with probably about 5 or 6 of these concepts. I guess we should probably just brush up on before Sunday.
Say it with the concepts here in React, you say?
No. Yeah, like by Sunday, like how many should we know by next Sunday?
Oh no. So I'm gonna give y'all the pages to look through on Tuesday. I still didn't look through these ones, but if you just want to do it, you know what I mean, just go through it. Like you don't have to wait for me to tell you, but I'm probably gonna give you like 5 or 6 pages to go through to understand. Maybe a little bit more depending on what's there. See, that's how we're gonna do it. But like I was saying, I definitely want y'all to go through these. Like I want y'all to complete all of these because it's gonna help to really get into React. So
cool, got it.
I'm gonna stop the share. The recording.